Hello everyone, welcome back to the series. So in this series, we are seeing how can we create real-time web applications using Java, and we are applying the different concepts from advanced Java and various other requirements through which we can create a real-time web project. So here, as you can see, the app in with this series which we are going to do is a translator app. So translator app is something which is required everywhere. Okay, now in our world, like, even in a country itself, there are multiple languages are spoken. Okay, now to translate that, we need to have an app or something like that. So for that purpose, we have created a translator app. Okay, so now here, so suppose let me enter hello. Okay, now here I have entered a few languages. Okay, so there can be any languages. You can enter any language of your choice, but here I have taken a few languages. So maybe in French, I'll check what is the value of hello in French. Okay, I'll click on translate. And here it shows the entered string is hello and the translated text is bonjour. Okay, so that's how the text is translated. So now in this tutorial, after we translate, we'll be also storing it in our database also. So in this series, we're going to see how can we actually store the value. Now in real-time applications, okay, if you go to Facebook also, so there's a lot of data. So every time people do some scrolling, tracking and all, whatever they do, so who all users are they, they'll be having the storage of the data. Now same here, our applications will be storing the data. Okay, so now for that, I have added a button. So if I click on this, it will show me all the records. So these are the things which I have executed. So if I enter name, and ES is the language code for Spanish, and so name is in Spanish is pronunciated as this. Now again, I have given a button here, so we can go to our main page, and anything which we want to enter, we can enter, and then we can. Now this translating thing, which we are not doing, we are not coding the logic for it. Rather, we'll be making the use of APIs. Now, what are APIs and all? Let us get an insight of that. Okay? So all the pre-requirements and all, we'll see that. So let us first have a look on what are the requirements we need for our project. So here you can see the first 5 requirements which are here. So IDE, so we need an integrated development environment. It's nothing but a software. We will be coding our application. So here in our case, we'll be using Eclipse. Okay. Now next, JDK is also required. So anyways, we're working on Java. Okay. So Java is something which needs to have JDK installed in our system to get compiled, to get interpreted and all. So JDK is also required. The next come Apache Tomcat server. Okay, so we are doing Java web application. Web application. So it's a web application which will be running on a browser. So we need a server. So that server which we'll be using is Apache Tomcat server. So now this installation process we have already seen in the previous video. So if you have any doubts in that, you can refer that. Okay. Now next comes an API. What is this API which we are making the use of it? So here you can see an application programming interface. So API's full form is nothing but application programming interface, is a way for 2 or more computer programs to communicate with each other. So now what we are doing is, so now we've seen, so hello, if I check in Spanish, if I check in French, it's some value there. Now we are not coding that. So that value we are extracting from database which is already present. Now how we are extracting means that's nothing but our API. So that's the way. So we'll see how can we actually integrate API and how can we extract the values from there. So in our upcoming video. Now next is JDBC. So as I said, whatever we are executing, those records will be storing it on a database. Okay. Now with our Java application, how it will be connected to SQL, all that is nothing but the concept of JDBC. So this is also required for us to, it's not much, but MySQL and the SQL connector files we need here. So that installation we'll see step by step in. So all these requirements are needed for our project. And next, just let us get a brief of what Servlet is actually. Okay, now here you can see it's a small Java program, basically a program which holds the business logic of your web application. Now here, as I have shown you the demo of our translator app, what I'll do, I'll enter some text. Now after text, I'll choose a language and I'll just click on translate, and it will say that this is the language, this is the text, you translate it and then you return as the result. The way that logic I am writing is nothing but my servlet file. So here is a short span of how servlet works. Okay, so whatever, so we are working on a web application, nothing but we are interacting with the browser. So our browser, whatever we are doing, I'm clicking on the translate button. It's nothing but I'm sending a request to the server. So particular request is there. You translate it, you process the request, and then send me a response. Now, in this case, for now, we don't have that logic on our server. Now, in this case, where should our web server search the request and how should it process it? Now, in this case, what it will do, it will go and check in the servlet container, which is nothing present in the web server. Now, how this web server will find our servlet container is nothing but through our deployment descriptors. Okay? So we will see when we create our project. So now, whatever servlets are there, so maybe servlet one is the file through which my request can be processed. So it will go here, it will ask the servlet one to process my request. Then the servlet one will send the response. Okay. Anything if related to database is there. Now here in our case, the servlet will be interacting with API. Okay. So interaction will happen between servlet and the API. And then this servlet container will send the response back to the server, from which the server sends the response that this translated text. So hello, you have entered. So after translating to French, this is the value which you get. So that's our response which we are getting. Basically, servlet is a file which will store the business logic of our web application. Now, how does an API work actually? So as we have seen, translator app. So as I say, there are multiple languages. Now, every language, if I go, I will not be able to code it actually. Okay, so now hello is there. There is Spanish language, French language, Turkish language, many languages are there. So if I sit down to code it, will take me a lot of time. So that's where API comes into picture. Okay? So end users and developers, some developers are there who have already created. So this we will be accessing through the API. So now API will connect with assets or database to access required info, sending it to the app. Okay, so there is some database which is already having all this data. It knows that this value in Spanish is this. So all this is stored in a certain database on a certain server. Now, how can we access the data using our API? So how will we connect this API with this database and all? This is the same. So basically, we are accessing the data through a different server, and we are displaying in our application in our server using our API. Now, having a brief of a folder structure. So basically, we'll be handling the request responses and all. This will be a dynamic project. Okay, so here things are happening dynamically. Okay, so I'm sending a request based on that. It should give me some output. Now in Java programs, we have seen we will give some code. It will statically happen mostly. Now, but web application is something which will work dynamically. So that's where the project structure we need to see. Okay, so first thing will be the main page which we'll see. Okay, now here we have seen the translator app. So that's nothing but my main page, index.html. Then next are servlet files, which are most important. So after my logic, where should I write? It's in servlet. That will be in nothing but src folders. Src is nothing but source in which all these are packages and in which my servlet files will be shown. So I'll provide the path here and it will go to the servlet files and it will return with the results. So that will be present in a folder called web app. Now next there is pom.xml. So pom.xml in this video we don't require it, but this will be required when you're doing with Maven. Okay, so Maven is a dependency manager which will help you install all these requirements which we need. So yeah, that's about the folder structure. Okay, now this we'll see once we create our project. So let us get started with our project. So first thing is we need an IDE. Let us go to our IDE. Here is our IDE. So now I need to create a project first. So as we know, will be dealing with the web application. The first thing which I'll need is a dynamic web project. So go to this file. In the menu, first option you will see my file. Click on new. And here you search for dynamic web project. So here I got it. So if it is not available here in the list, okay, so if you're creating it for first time, you'll probably not find the dynamic web project here in the list. Then in that case, go to other, and here you can type dynamic web project, and here you can see it's displayed. Just click on this, click on next, and here we'll configure our web project. Let's give a name here. So I'll be doing a translator app. So maybe I'll give translate as my project name, and here comes a Apache Tomcat. So this Apache Tomcat configuration and all, which we've seen in last time. So now here we'll not do any configuration. It's done. Then click on next. Again, click on next. So here we'll create the web.xml deployment. So now why is it needed? To have the mapping of our servlets. Now I click on this button, which servlet it should go. There are many servlets which are going on. So which it should go, that will be shown by web.xml. That's our deployment descriptor. Then click on finish. So here we got a translate app. Okay. Now here, let us get started with our main page. So now right click here and then in new, the first thing I'll need is a HTML file. So I'll click here and let me give a name. So basically for main page, the name which is ideally given is index.html. So in that case, so if your URL of your web project follows a certain path, okay, so if you're not specifying the file name, it will go and consider your index.html. So basically when you're creating a home page or the main page which is there, try to give the name as index for that. Then click on next. Yeah, finish. So here my file is created. Now for now, let me have a heading. So I'll give h1 tag and maybe I'll write translator app. Now first let us run with the server. How is it looking? So let me change the title also. Same this thing I'll add in my title tag. Save it. Then right click here, click on run as and run on server. So select the server which you are using. So I'll be using this server only. So I'll check this one. So every time when I click on run, so it will go to this server and it will start running. Click on finish. So our server is getting started. Yeah. So we can see our page is displayed now. Now we need to design it something like this. So all the styling will be doing using Bootstrap. Bootstrap is nothing but HTML, CSS, and a JavaScript framework, which will provide us the classes. So using those classes, we'll style our page. Okay. So first, let us deal with the HTML content. So I need a heading, translator app, which I've already given. Then next comes a form. So this will be a form. Basically, we're giving an input from user. This will be taken from the form tag using the input tag. So let us start with that. So first thing will be a form tag. Now in form tag, we know that we'll require two more attributes. One is action attribute and next is method attribute. So now we already seen the use of it. If not, just once go and scroll of it. Now again, I'll revisit this once we create a subject. So now in our form, first thing I'll need a label. So I'll create a label tag, which will first ask for the text. Okay, so whichever text we want. So I'll give enter text, and then so it can be a paragraph like that. So here I'll not give an input tag, rather I'll give a text area tag. The text area tag is something which will accept many text, you can say, instead of a one liner. So here I'll give a placeholder which will be enter your text here. Okay. Now to this, we'll give a name attribute. So using this only, we'll be accessing it in servlet. So this I'll give maybe text to translate. So this is something which will be translating. So try to give a meaningful name so that when somebody else visits your code, they'll be also, it will be easy for them also to see. Okay. So my text area is created. Now maybe for now, I'll have a BR tag. Then comes next. First will be a label tag where I'll display select language. So languages we are giving in the form of a drop down. So drop down will be giving using a select tag. So select. Now, what will be the name of this? So name will be language selected, or maybe select is also fine. So here I give, and here I'll give my options. So let me go with the same options here which we have given. We have given Spanish, English, French, and all. So let me do that. So first is Spanish. Now for Spanish, what should be the value attribute? So the code for Spanish will be ES. Okay? So there will be a language code with every code. Now why are we using ES? We'll see that when we actually integrate our API here. Okay? Now similarly, let me add French. So for French, the language code is FR. Now next I'll add Hindi. So value for Hindi is HI. Same way, and give it for maybe Telugu. So language for Telugu is language code for Telugu is TE, that I'll give here, and I'll write Telugu here. So this I have given. So now after we all give this all, now we need to give a submit button also. So after the select tag, I'll give a button tag, okay, which will be a type of submit. Okay, so submit button is a type. So when a button is clicked, it will go to the form's action attribute. So whatever the servlet file or the business logic file is written here, it will go to that action attribute. So that's the purpose of it. So here I'll write maybe translate. Okay. Now let us save and check our file. Refresh. I got all the so enter text label and then this text area, then this, and translate. So for now, when I click on translate, nothing happens because we have not specified anything in the action and method attribute. So first, let us give the styling to this. The styling, as I said, will be using bootstrap here. So bootstrap, let us get to the bootstrap website, bootstrap.com. There are multiple ways of how you can include bootstrap in your project, but I would prefer the CDN. So in the home page, scroll here, and here you will see two CDN links. So this first one is the link tag. Go to your file and add it in head. I'll add it here. This is added. Then next will be script tag. Copy this, and here before the end of body tag, I'll add. Both are added. Save. Okay, so let me check if my app is properly working or not. So maybe for the main heading, I'll give a class that it should display in blue. So class that is text primary. Save and then check. Yeah, it's getting applied. So bootstrap is added now. Now let us style our app a bit. So for this, it will be coming as a block. So for all this, the code which we have written, I need to have it in a div tag or a section tag, whichever you prefer. So the first thing which I'll take is a div tag. Now in this div tag, I'll give a class. So I need a container class. So container is something which will have predefined styling with that. Okay. Now I need a margin as well. So empty of 5. So maximum margin I'm taking. And I need a border. So we have given a border as well. So that border I'll give. So blue or maybe secondary, let us style here. Secondary is the grayish color. Then inside also I need some padding. So P of 5 I'll give. And then so just making some final changes. Rounded is for making the box edges a little smooth, and then shadow is for having box shadow. Then what background I want, so VG white I'll take. Inside this div tag, I'll paste all my tags up to the submit button. So make sure your indentations are clear so that it won't be a misunderstanding. Now let me check how is it looking. Yeah, we got the border, but on y-axis it is not on center actually. So that I'll handle using CSS. So inline says I'll give here. So maybe style attribute. So there's a property called transform. So here I'll just move it a little bit. So on y-axis, I'll take translate y, maybe 33%. Let me check. Yeah, this is fine, but I don't want this width. So I'll change the width also. Maybe 50 of view width it should take. View width. Oh, I forgot semicolon. 50 is a bit short. I'll make it 60. It will take a little time to get loaded. So let us deal with the other thing. So this heading I want in center. So apart from the color, I'll give text center. This will make my text in center. Now this, let us go with the form. So now all this label and text area, these are all inline level elements, which will not have its block level elements. So maybe if I check, these both are coming side by side now. Okay? Now I want it on a new line. So for that, every container is coming, take it in a div tag. Okay, so div tag inside this, I'll paste it. Same thing I'll do with the next element as well, which is our language. Here, I'll take it cut. Oh, so now let me check. Yeah. So for this, I'll give it some margin, maybe my of 3. It's taking time to load. By that time, let me do other changes. So with the forms, we have certain classes in Bootstrap. So my label, I want to have some styling. So I'll give it a class form label. So this is the class for a form label in Bootstrap. Similarly, for the input tags which we are giving, so where the user is entering the tag. So for that, I'll give a class called form control. This is the one. Now, same thing here also. So let me check if margin is properly applied. This is done, but this thing is not here. So maybe for label, I'll make it display as block. Block. Yeah, we got it now. Then let us style this one as well. Select language. The same things I'll do here as well. So tag, I'll give a class of the, and then here as well, same class tag for label, and for select tag, I'll give this form. So not form control, because since it's a select tag, here the class will be form select. So yeah, this one is same. Then let us style our button element also. So give it a class, and then if it is a button, so button btn, maybe primary will go blue color, and then it should be a block level element. Otherwise, it was coming on same line. Then I want it in center. So since it's not a text, I will not use text center here. It's a block level element. So I need to use mx auto, and then some padding inside it. So maybe px4 and py2. So let us check how is it looking. Yeah, it's looking pretty fine, but I think we have given a lot of translate. Let me change that. This, I'll make it 25. Yeah, let us go with this. So whatever text I enter here, so maybe hello if I enter, or what is your name? I select Spanish or maybe French and I click on translate. It should happen something. So what it should happen, that will be a servlet file. Okay. Now to create the servlet file, let us get back to our project. Right click, click on new, then select servlet. So give it a package. So maybe I'll give translate as the project name or translator, your wish. And then class name, I'll give translate servlet. Click on next, next. So which method you're using? You're using do get method or post. So for now, I'll go with do get method. So I'll uncheck this one. And I don't need the constructor as well. So I'll click on finish now. So now my servlet is created. This is where I'll write my whole logic. So I need to specify this. So as soon as I click the submit button, it should go to this translate servlet file. Now, how should I move there? That's nothing but an action attribute. So here I'll specify the file name. So translate servlet is the file name. And what is the method where we are writing all the logic? Is the get method. Okay, so there are two methods, get and post method. We are writing a logic in get method. So here also I'll mention get. Okay, so here if you're writing post and here the logic is in get method, it will show an exception that post method is not. Okay, now this is done. So here let me take the strings which I am taking for now. So one more thing, in our previous video we have imported the servlet API which we got after installation of Apache Tomcat server. So because it's already loaded, that's why we got all this. If it's not there, then we need to probably import it. So now after this, let me first extract the text from our form and then we'll display it how it looks. So first thing, it will be a string. So I'll take it to string and maybe text to translate. So this we are taking through request methods. So request dot get parameter. What is the parameter name? So my text to translate is returning text to translate name itself. So here in in quotes, I'll give the same. So because here in name attribute, we have given text to translate. Okay, so that's what we are taking in our servlet file. And the semicolon, same thing will store our language. So string language select. Now this will be also will taken from request.get parameter method. And here it will be again language select. Now here, so let me create a print writer method. Okay, so print writer is nothing but whatever we want to display on browser, we'll be using this print writer. So name I'll give it out. Oh, I'll give in double space equal to new print writer object. Response dot get writer. Okay. Now this is not imported, so just right click here. It will be present in Java IO, which we don't have to manually install. It's already present. Just we need to import the statements. So that's it printed. Now, first thing I'll do it, I'll print whether we are getting the value of text to translate. Okay, so let's just display this and let us check if our servlet is working fine. Get back here, refresh once. So maybe I'll enter hello here. Okay. So one of you are not writing any logic. Let's just do it like this. Click on translate. Oh, it throws an error. So translate servlet is not available. So here you see the servlets which we created are already added here. This is not something which I have added. And maybe, yeah, this translate servlet, we directly don't have it. We have it in a package, which is this translate. So I'll copy this. In translate app, we'll have this translate servlet. So maybe let us do this now. So here you can see I have not specified index.html. Usually when you run your app, okay, so maybe here this previous app when we did, it has index.html. So if I remove this, nothing but the main page which is having the file name as index, that will be displayed. Okay, so let us try. Yeah, this works now. This is something we're just generating the response, and this hello is the text which we entered in platform. Okay, so we have not entered the new line, but this one works. Okay, so let us start with the logic now. So now what should be the logic actually? First thing is we'll be taking what is the text we need to translate and we'll take the language. Okay? But we don't know how to actually translate it. That's where we need to use API. Okay? So let us go to a website. So there is a website called Rapid API. So let me close this all. So go to this website. So log in with your Google account or whatever you prefer. Okay, so here I have already logged in with my Gmail account. It's done. So what I want is I need to translate my text. So I'll search with maybe text translator. Okay, so search for anything here and click on view all results or just type enter and it will give you the results for all these types of APIs. So there are many a number of APIs, but we need to test what's our exact. So my problem statement is that whatever text I enter and whatever language is selected, it should be translated. Okay. So from this, so I have already tested many of this. Okay. So in order to save the time, so this is the most suitable API according to my problem statement. So I'll go here, I'll click on this. Yeah. This one is there. So, but we need to see whether whatever I enter the text is it will work or it will take or not. Okay, so for that we need to subscribe to test. So just click on this button, subscribe to test, and here we can go to the basic, which will charge you 0 amount, and then here click on subscribe. So to in order to test any API, to take any API, you need to subscribe it first. So from here, go to endpoint section. I'll toggle the full screen mode first. And now here in this post translate, if this scroll, here you can see what is the source language. So it is EN. So EN is the language for your English. So whatever we are entering, it will be in English. If you want any other language, your native language, you can enter the code here and then you can test. Okay. And now what should be the target language? In which language I want my text to be displayed. Okay. So I want Spanish. So for Spanish, the language code is ES. I'll enter here and here there will be the text. So suppose here we are typing what is your name. So in English we have typed and in which language it should be translating, it will be Spanish. Click on a test endpoint and here you get the results. Okay, so in data, in translated text, you see there's something written in this which is in Spanish. So if you want it in Hindi, so maybe HI I'll give, which is the language code for Hindi. And you see the translator, what is your name? Here it's आपका क्या नाम है? In Hindi, it is written. Okay, so this is the most suitable API for. So yeah, now we got this. Now how to import this actually? So to go to this code snippet section. Now here you can see many languages are there, but we are working with Java. Go to Java, and here we are working with Java.NET HTTP. So we are working with HTTP request. So click here, and here you see how to use this API. So this code is required actually. So click on copy. So this is something which will store the type. Okay, so what is the content type, and API key is required in order to take the data from that API. So that key is also stored. So directly we can take this from here and here. So now maybe I don't need to print now. We have checked how to work with that. Now I'll paste. So first we'll write the comments and integrating API. Here I'll directly copy my code. So I don't need to do anything, but here you see there are some errors in it. So hover on that, just import it. Okay, similarly, this now URI is also something we need to import. This is also imported. HTTP response also we need. Now here in request. Oh, did we use a request variable anywhere? Yeah, here we are using. So maybe I'll ask it to change it to request one. So you can do it manually also, but what Eclipse will do when I create them. So request one is used twice here. Okay, so we as a human can make mistake and we can miss any one variable where it is used again. So in that case, when I renamed it, it is getting updated to all the variables. Okay, similarly for response also I'll do, and this one gets updated response.body. HTTP client also I need to import. Okay. Now you see all these three which we just imported are added. Now it doesn't have any errors. Yeah, one more thing is all this throws an error, so we need to have multi-page. So basically the thing is that when we're trying to extract with an API, there are possible chances that it will throw an exception. Now in that case, our IDE, which is Eclipse, prefer us to add all the try and catch blocks to in order to avoid any exceptions which we are getting here. Okay. Now here, if you notice one thing, source language is EN. Okay, that's fine. We are entering in English. Target language is HI, which is Hindi. Okay, so every time I enter my text, so suppose if I'm entering for it for Spanish, it should return me the text translated in Spanish, but here it is written HI, which is the language code for Hindi, which we don't want because we tested for Hindi. The same URL is added here, which I don't want. It needs to be different with every language I select. So for now, what I'll do is I'll remove HI here, and rather I'll concatenate what should be there. So what is the language which we have is language select. So take this one, which is our language which we will give. So after this concatenation plus and then this. Okay. Now continue with the next URL and then the text. So what is your name is the text which was present there. So this will not be same every time. This will also be differ. So this I'll remove, and here I'll add plus. So what is the text which we are getting? It is stored in text to translate string, and that is what I'll print here. Now add it. So yeah, so response it shows another initialized variable. Okay, let us check with that first. Response one. Okay, let us not go with this one. Uh, Rather, I'll write my whole thing. So in order to get the HTTP request from a API, so the thing is we need HTTP response, which will be mostly of string type. And name, I'll give it maybe API response because we're getting the response from API. I'm not using direct response variable because it's already declared. And so when we are taking it, so just now what we have did, same thing we are doing. So API client dot new HTTP client. So this is the syntax. Oh, wait a second. After this, I need to send what is the request I'm getting. So that will be API request. API request is nothing but here which we are giving. Okay, we are giving request 1 here. So same thing I'll take here. And then what should be the response? So HTTP response dot body handlers I need, and it should be of string type because here we are taking it in string, so of string, and it is a function. And then end it with semicolon. So we have generated the response. Now next thing is we need to get the response in this table. So whatever the text is there, it will be mostly string. So string, I'll take it in maybe translated text. So whatever result I'm taking, I'll store it in this variable, translated text. And this is coming from this API response. It is storing the whole response. And how to take the response, and the method is body, okay, which we can see here. So let me clear the indentation so that it won't cause any confusion. So now we got this. Now I need to print it. So my print router is written here already. So one thing is that as you have seen in the website, so whereas in the results section, so if you notice, this is the whole result actually. It will not directly print this result. It will give us all the status and all, which we don't want. We want directly, which is written in translated text. Okay. So basically, the result which we are getting is in JSON format. So we need to decode that part. So for that, what I'll do is I'll create a function for that. So I'll give a function name here. Maybe decode will be the name. So here I'll pass this text because this is something which we need to extract. And then next, so print writer method will be used everywhere. I'll pass its object and then what all the language. So this is something I am adding because this is all will be required to store it in database also. So language select, which we have. Okay, we don't have this very, it is text to translate actually, and then language select. So whatever we are getting will be given here. So this method which we have not defined it till now. So I'll ask it to create the method, and it created it here. Now in this method, I'll write my text what to do. So now because we will be extracting the text for JSON format, there is a jar file which we need to download in. Okay, so go to the browser and check for Java JSON jar. This is something in Java, how to extract the JSON format. Okay, so for that, we are searching it. Click here. So you can download the file, which will download your zip file. Extract the zip file, and in which you will see a jar file called Java JSON. Extract this file, and this is present in downloads folder now. Now this thing I need to add it to my build path of the project. So to get back to Eclipse, so here right click, click on build path, configure build path. So this is the process usually when we want to have an jars included, external jars. Just click on class path and then click on add external jars. So my jar file is present in, okay, so servlet API also we need from here. So we'll do that as well. Yeah, I'll add this one. And in my downloads folder, I have Java JSON jar file. Click this, is added, and click on apply and close. Now using this jar file, we'll be able to decode whatever we are trying to do. So now whenever we are doing, so JSON stores all the data in the form of objects. So in order to decode this, we need to create an object of JSON object type. So this something like this, and then give a name. So maybe I'll give JSON object, and I'll create a new object for that, JSON object. So what should be the object to which it should create the object? So that will be nothing but a JSON string. Now we need to import this. Now this string, we are actually having it in translated text. So I'll paste that here. So whatever is present in the result, which is nothing but translated text, I'll do. So here we need a throws declaration. Click on this, and here you see throw JSON exception. So whatever the exception is, possibilities there through JSON, that will be handled here. Now next object I need JSON object, which will be data is equal to JSON object dot get. So it will help me take the objects which are present in that result of my JSON format. So here in that, what do we need actually? Let me show here. My result is stored in this data format. Okay, so go to data. So here it will be data. I'm taking this. Now from that data also I need uh, this one, translated text. Now here I am missing something. Okay, it's capital O. This is done. And then we'll extract the text which is present in translated text property. So for that, it will be a string basically. Now it will not be JSON. So that I'll store it maybe in a result str. Take this and this data object, we will take the string of which is present in translated text. Okay, so this is the one, but this should be in quotes and then it with semicolon. Okay, now let us try to print it. So print writer I'm not again defining here because I have already imported it from the method itself. So I'll write it here, writer dot print. Okay, it's out actually, dot println. So let me just print result str. Now I don't need this one actually. This will throw an error at catch clause. So JSON exception, where should we catch it? Means it's here. So let me save and let us try. Refresh. Let me restart the server. Next file. So it's not able to find the JSON exception. So one more thing is that in lib file, which is present in web.inf folder, here also we need to add the jar file. Let us try that as well. So it's present in downloads. Yeah, this one. I'll just copy here, Control C. And here click on library and Control V. Yeah, it's added now. And let me try once again. Yeah, this one works now. So my page is listed. So make sure when you're using Java JSON jar, add it in lib folder. So one thing is that it needs to be added in class path as well as it needs to be copied in lib folder as well. Okay. So now let me try to enter hello and we'll check it for French. Translate. Yeah, I get the value. Okay. Now this is something which was directly given. So I'll remove that servlet line from our servlet. It should be the first line. Yeah, this one I'll comment it. So that won't be displayed and the direct result which is there, which is bonjour, that will be displayed from next. So it takes time to load actually. Okay, now we need to design it actually. So if you have noticed here, suppose I write, I am a developer and let us do it in first Spanish. So it displays something like this, a total div box in the main text and what is the translated text will be all displayed. So all this stylings we will add now. Now we know when we are dealing with servlet files, we need to give all the HTML tags in out.println. Okay, so let us try to do that. So now here, yeah. So once my decoded text is found, so before that itself, I'll create my HTML file. So out.println. So first tag usually for our HTML type is doc type HTML. Then comes next tag out of println, which will be a HTML tag. Oh, quotes are missing here. Now, if opening tag is there, then definitely closing tag will also be there. Now, similarly with this, we will have head tag also. Now with this head tag, I'll have a closing tag as well, /head. In this head tag, I'll give a title, so out.println. It will be a title tag. Now this will be maybe translated text and display an ending of title tag. Okay. Now since we are using bootstrap here, we need to include the CDN of bootstrap as well. So out.println. Now we have included it in our HTML file. So same tag I'll paste here. So this will include my bootstrap file. Similarly, we'll include for script tag also. Now, all the styling you can provide it according to your style. So I'll just take a pause, okay, and all the stylings will apply from the previously done one. So using all the style tag and all, I have added the properties here. Okay, so now this will be the string will look like this. This entered string is, and whatever the text we have entered will be displayed. Similarly, in the decode method, this result str which we were displaying plain, now it is added with the HTML tag. Now let us save and check once. Okay, so this will be done. Now these buttons we need to add, go back and view all records button. So let us add those buttons. Now all that I'll give it in decode method, or after the decode method also you can give it here. So I'll give it here because here is something I'll add the insert method also. So insert is for our JDBC part. Now here, so out.println, I'll add a div tag here. So two buttons I'm displaying side by side. So that means I need to give dflex and then justify content center, and all that thing which is there, it will come in center. Now next comes our first button. So this will be a button tag or anchor tag, since I need to traverse through the pages. So it will be an anchor tag and href attribute. Now what should be the href attribute? So what is the project name basically? The project name is Translate. So give that Translate here slash what is the file name index.html. Okay, so this will be the path of my main page, and I'll give it a style. So maybe I want it in button format, so I'll give it btn, and it should be btn primary. So basically, when I'm using the btn instead of directly giving the bg primary, it will have a hover effect with that. So that's why I'm using btn. So margin to separate the buttons, and inside that it will have some padding. Okay. What should be the displayed text? So after closing, I'll go back and closing of anchor tag. Semicolon. Same way, our next button. So this will not be index.html, rather it will be the next servlet file which will create. So I'll directly give the name here. I'm gonna give it a name of translate record servlet. Okay. So for now we have not given. We'll give the servlet file with the same name. In the text, so maybe color will be success. We basically green color, and here it will show view all records. Now then comes the closing of this div tag. Out of println. Now this one is added. Now it's done. So if I click on go back, it will go to the index page. Now here I can enter something and I can go and check. But if I click here, it will show an exception that it has not. So since we have not created any servlet with this name, okay, so now with this servlet, we'll basically deal with storing of data. Now till now we have seen how we access the data with the API, and we have displayed it by extracting with JSON. Now we need to store it using a JDBC concept. For that, we need to create the servlet file. So here only first what I'll do, I'll write the method to insert. So here after I decode, I would want to have an insert method. So here I'll create insert into database method, to which I'll be passing my text to translate, because that is something I want to store. So let me show you MySQL. So this is also a requirement where you need to install MySQL command line, or if you're working with Workbench, that is also fine. So I'll enter my data. So I have created a database called tempdb, and in this I have, so maybe let me check the tables. I have a table called translator. So select star from translator. Okay. So already I have this where I'll be storing my original string, the language, which will store the language code, and the results, what it is getting. Okay. So these three columns I need in my insert method. So that's where the original string, which is nothing but it's stored in text to translate, will be sent. Then next I need to store the language also. So language, which is selected, which will also be shown, and the result str will be shown. These are the three things which I will need. So now this is not given. I need to create it. So just over and it will create the instance method for us. Now this is done. So let us start creating. So now when you're dealing with JDBC, we need to have an SQL connector file. Okay, let us first download that one. So go to your browser and search SQL connector. Okay. Now this is from, you'll get this from MySQL website. Go here. So we want for Java, so we'll mention that as well as connector for Java. Yeah, that's the J file which we will need. Just go to this website and here select the operating system. So I want the platform independent one. Now we need the zip file which will hold the jar file. So this is our zip file. Just click on download and then click on no thanks, just start my download. So this is downloaded now. Go to downloads folder in your file explorer. Here you can see MySQL connector file. So if you go inside this folder or if you extract it, you'll see this connector file. So just I'm directly pasting it in downloads folder. The jar file. We only need the jar file. That's what I have printed. So the thing is, I already have one. So I'll cancel this one and the ones which I have already downloaded previously, I'll use that one. So let me just cancel. So here it's present. Now go to the Eclipse, right click, go to again build path. So same thing how we did for JSON, we need to do it here. Go to class path, add external jars, and here this is the MySQL connector file. Click on open and then apply and close. The same like how we pasted this in lib, we'll paste that jar file also here. So where is the SQL connector file? Yeah, here. Just copy, Control C, and here click on lib and paste it. My SQL connector file is added now. Now here, so how to create the SQL connection, we'll see that. So first thing is we need the SQL connector IP. So for that, class dot for name, and here we'll specify the path of your SQL connection. So that is the latest one, which is working com.mysql. This is the MySQL connection. Basically, the type of SQL you're using. You're using MySQL, so that's why this is. And JDBC, we need the driver. And this. Now this shows an exception. So basically, connector exception. So we need to do the throws declaration, and it shows class not found exception. Okay, now so since we are creating, we need the URL or the connection to our database. So password and username is also required. So all that will create this variable. So string first will be the URL. I hope this variable is not used. Yeah, it's not used. So this will be JDBC colon RS connection is MySQL type, and then provide the IP address 127.0.0.1. So if in case this IP address doesn't work, then we can go with localhost also. And then the port number, which is 3306 for MySQL, and then slash your database name. So here will be the database name which you created. Now in my case, the database which I am using is TempDB. This is my database name. So same thing, I'll give it here after slash. This is done. Now next comes my username. So provide what is there inside the quotes. So even if it is number, you need to provide it in quotes since you're storing it in a string variable. Okay. So this is the sample username password I have. Now the connection which I want to give, I'll give it. So all that I'll give it in a try block. Because connection is something we need to check. It can throw an exception. That's why it's kept in try block. So using connection class, we'll create it. So maybe I'll give just con is equals to, now using driver manager dot, we will establish the connection. So how to establish? First is the URL we need, then we need the username, and then we need the password. This will establish the connection. Now this needs to be imported. Now in order to import this, we need the SQL connector, which we have imported in the class path also, and here also it's present. Now next, So what should be our query? So let us first write the query in a string. So this will be, so basically whatever I'm getting, text translate, language select, and result str, I need to store it in my table. So that query I'll write insert into my table name is, let me check, table name is translator. So insert into translator values. What should be the values? It's original str, which is this. So the column names which I've given is original str, lang, and real str. So that I will give here, or you can skip it also. You can directly go with the values. So this won't come here. So what are the values now? So for that, I need to use the prepared statement method. So for now, here I'll just give question marks. So there are 3 columns in my table. I'll end it like this. Oh, oh, I have not given the colon. That's right. Now this is done. Now how to execute it? So for that, we need something called prepared statement. This is something which will execute our queries. Spelling is not correct. Now this is something I need to again give it in a try cat because it can throw us SQL exception. Okay, so let me have a try block here again. Now here I'll use this prepared statement. So the name for this will be PS equal to connection. So basically a connection is stored in CON. So I'll take on dot prepared statement, and here the query which we want. So my query is stored in SQL variable. I'll enter this. Okay. Now this prepared statement is again not important. So that right click and it's present in SQL connector. So you can just do this here. It's prepared statement. Actually, I gave it prepared statement. It's prepared statement. Now after this is done, what should be done? So in my all the values, first column, which should be the value, we'll do that. So ps dot set, it's of string type only, all are strings. So first column will have the value text to translate. Then next second will have this will have the language selected. Basically the values which are there, those will be stored here. Set string. Third, and this is what is the name? Result str. I'll give this one here. Now this is done. So whenever this is created, the value will be written, an integer value will be written. Okay, so that value I want to store. So basically it will be an integer value. So int, I'll take int I equal to this prepared, and then we'll execute this query. Execute update. Okay. Now if the value is executed, that means I grade value will be greater than 0. So in that case, I'll print the statement also. Okay, so here I'll add a conditional. If I is greater than 0, just print system.out.println record added in database. This is given. Or if you want to print it in the browser, you can add that as well. So let us check how is it working. Go back. Once refresh. And then let us check in MySQL database. You see the last one, which we had executed just now. Previously, it was 8 records. Here it is 9 records now. So the value, which was original text hello, and in Spanish, I have changed, translated it to hola. Yeah. Okay. So now this is done. But when I click on this, I should see all my records. So let us create this servlet file. So now again, get back here, right click, click on new, and then I want a servlet. So I'll create here. So this will also be in the same package. So I think the package name is translate. Yeah, it's translate. And the file name will be translate record servlet. Click on next, next. And I want the do post method since we have seen, because get will expose our data. We don't want that. So I'll go with do post method. Yeah, so this one is created now. We didn't want this, so I forgot to uncheck. I don't want the constructor, just remove it. Now here, same thing, we are dealing with the JDBC. So same thing, we need it, how we have done it here. So where is our insert database? So we would need all this. So in my do post method, I've given this, then next. So my prepare statement, again, this needs to be having a try catch block. So that's where it is in try block. And let us add all this in the try block itself. All the things which is related to JDBC, we'll have it in that particular try block. And then once we have the access, once we are connected, then we need to execute the queries. So we have seen here how to execute the queries. So yeah, prepared statement. So directly let me give it here only. My connection is on. Oh, I've not given the connection of this. Yeah. Let me just copy since we have already seen the meaning. Is equal to con dot we know to get the connection. This is the method. The first thing will be giving JDBC URL, then username, then a password. This needs to be imported. Once prepare statement is added, then get connection. Okay. Okay. To find that this is not get connection, this will be prepared statement. In the connection, we are trying to execute some query. So this will be prepare statement. And what should be the statement? That I want all the records from my translator table. So select star from translator. This is the query. And here the error is because I forgot semicolon. Now one thing is there. So one we execute this query, select star from translator, it is having multiple records. So just now you've seen it is having 9 records. That too, in every record we have three columns. So basically here we need to run a loop. So before that, import statements and catch clause. So yeah, this is done. Then next, so we need to execute the query. So my query will be in result set. We're getting some result that will be in RS. This also needs to be executed actually, imported. So execute query. Just click here. It is also present in SQL only, SQL connected file. So now, so I'll have a loop here while RS dot next. So until RS, so executed query has some value, execute this query. So what is that query? We'll be having 3 values in each record. Let us get that. So string. So we will get the original value. So which will be maybe text I'll have. That is nothing but rs dot get string, it is in original. So first name is original str, the column name which is specified in database while creating. Then next is the language code. So maybe lang code I'll take rs dot get string. So all are string here. So if it is other value like int or double and all, you need to take get double like that. Now this is lang from the table. The next it is the result, which will be rs dot get string, and the value is result strx. Yeah. Okay. Now after this, we need to print the records. Okay, this will be a table tag. So all the table tag and all, we'll need to give it using HTML. So all that, let us take that from here. So from Bootstrap, we already have some table tags and all. Let me just add. So here in the method directly, I've created the print writer object and then all this required files, same how we have done for the previous file, including Bootstrap, then adding some styles. Okay. Now here, since it's a table, so I've added the table tag, which will be a bordered have. So in T head, what should be the column names, all this is specified. And then T body will have multiple rows. So that's where when you're dealing with the loop, the TR is given in the loop itself. So there will be multiple rows, which will be having all these three values. Then after that, the closing of the T body tag and all the other tags. Now this is done. So one more thing is that in the records page, I need a link to my main page also. So let us add after the table. So here I'll write out dot println. So I need a button here basically. So this will be anchor tag href equal to. So what's the link of our page? It's in translate folder. So slash translate. The file name is index.html. And then specify some styles. So I want it to be btn primary. And same like how we did for the previous button, px5. And the text which it will display is go back. So here I'm not giving any other button, we just require only this one. So let us check now. Yeah, one more thing, when we are dealing with the JDBC, we created a connection here, created connection, and we need to close the connection also. That's where con.close is also added. Okay, so now let us go. This is done. Refresh once. Maybe I'll type what is your name. So I'll check it in Spanish only. Translate. So I get the value, what is in Spanish, and click on view all records. So here you get this value. So in Spanish, this is the meaning. So all the records which are present in our table in MySQL, all are displayed here. Now just go back that button. Again, we are here. And then actually I'll remove this extra space from here in index.html. Maybe we'll remove br tag, and this only for bottom is fine. And also this border I want it blue. So not secondary, I'll make it primary. Yeah, this is done. So maybe I will take today is a holiday. This, let me try it in Hindi. Translate. Oh, it's not giving here. So this is the value which is given in text. So maybe because of the character set, Hindi is a language it's not getting displayed. So yeah, again check the records and these are all added. So that's how we have implemented the web application, and we have seen how to integrate the data with the API. Also, we have seen how can we do it in JDBC. So we are connecting it with the SQL connection also database. So now you can say after you complete this, so now you have seen how to work with Java servlets, JSP pages. Now enterprise edition, because the whole setup, whole project which you're doing is nothing but enterprise edition of your Java. Then, so not just functionality, you're making it as a web page, web application. So for that we need front end, so which we have used HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. Then comes API. Okay, so we have used text translator API. Then JDBC. So JDBC is something which will connect our database and through which we can access or we can insert the values. Now let us have a look on the documentation also. So define a name for your project also so that it also carries some value in your resume. You can add it like multilingual dynamic web translator project. So dynamic means we're dealing with APIs and so obviously it's a dynamic project. We're dealing with servlets. Now here are some features, user-friendly interface. Yeah, we created it like that. Dynamic language support. So for now we have included 4 to 5. You can check the language codes and simultaneously here in index method you can add all the languages here. Okay, suppose you want to add English also, so value will be en and add that language also. So many language you can add here. So real-time translation, scalability, API integration is also there. So in the prime purpose and also obviously because many languages are there which we deal with, sometimes we need to translate what's going on, so that's where the use of your multilingual application translator app will be required. So this has a larger scope, so many people, so there's no single people which will know all the languages across the world. So that's where this is a project which will have a very broad scope for everyone. Okay, so which here we created dynamic web project. We need use of Java servlets or JSP pages. So with the index.html you can have it as a JSP page also. Multilingual translation, so we inserted it records also. We have a servlet for displaying the records as well. And these are all the technologies used. Servlets, where we had the business logics, Java's JSP pages or index.html which we created. Then MySQL database. Okay, so make sure to have a database and table ready before you have a connection in your servlet file. Okay. Then Bootstrap also, some classes we have seen. Then API, how can we integrate and how are we getting? And then JSON also we have seen how to extract and display the wanted data. And these are the servlet files which we have used. So use it. So all these requisites and all we have seen how to install JDK, ID, servlets and all. So this will have you have a better understanding. This will be added as an attachment to your to the video as well. So go through it and you will have a better understanding. So yeah, so this was a video organized by PacketPrep. Okay. So do follow, share, and subscribe this channel. So we have the aim of job training and placements. We've got many learners, so we provide them quality training with the experienced trainers, and then after they complete the training they'll be having placements. So we've got 2 corporate clients who will be taking our trained students and they'll get placed. So the mission of us is to train the students and help them get placed. So that's where PacketPrep missions aims to all this, and that's where we have created this series. So I hope you enjoyed the series and will